Welcome, 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 my beautiful brothers and sisters, and my beautiful wife, Maheen. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. I'm truly honored to be in your presence. I'm grateful to you being here. It helps me reach within myself to bring out the knowledge that's within myself. You help bring out the inspiration. Those of you in the room, those watching on DVD, and those listening on CD. The topic today is how to stay focused on priorities, part 2. First of all, I want to say that if you're not focused on priorities, you can never become happy. Happiness, I'm going to give a lecture pretty soon, a lecture on the threefold path to happiness. One of the paths is keeping the priorities, keeping to what's important to ourselves. Now, to really keep priorities in focus, we have to realize our mortality. We don't have forever to get it all done. There are only so many sunrises, sunsets, Christmases, and so forth. We're only here for a limited time. That sense of mortality helps drive us towards doing what really matters, because we don't have 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years to get it done. A limited period of time. Hopefully 120 years for most, but whatever the time is. And certainly to achieve our priorities, having deadlines is extremely helpful. Now, the priorities should be of 3 types. We should all have 3 types of priorities. One is material, which includes our physical health, financial, making sure we are, whatever goals we have in terms of possessions and so forth, of maintenance of those possessions. Those are the material priorities. Then we need to have emotional or psychological priorities. So we want to be able to, what are our goals for our relationship in our marriage, or with our significant other, or with our children? We should have specific goals, or general goals as well. What are our goals in terms of our relationships? What are our goals in terms of our own emotional well-being, whether it's in terms of being happier or reducing anxiety, depression, or insomnia? What are the goals with respect to our psychological well-being, our emotional well-being? So that's the second category of goals that we should all have. And the third category is what we could call spiritual. And I'm not talking any particular religious or spiritual approach. It could be a higher power, nature, God, Lord, whatever the spiritual path is for each one of you. There should be a spiritual goal, a spiritual priority. It could be to be closer to God, or it could be to find new ways to serve God, other ways to be in touch more often with the spiritual aspect of our nature. We want to have goals in all 3 areas. To be truly happy, we must meet that. That's not the only aspect of happiness, because I talk about a threefold path to happiness, which I'll deliver on a future seminar. But one of those paths has to do with keeping to priorities. Absolutely essential. Now, in the last, on part 1, we went over 13 questions that we asked ourselves as to help us focus on what our priorities are. We're now going to go over other questions as well, to help us focus on the priorities. Now, one aspect of priority is, what is my destiny? First, let's talk about a little bit of the word destiny. Somebody might say we have a destiny that we're born into, such as service to humanity, becoming the best person we can become. That's the destiny of each human being. Some people might feel they have a particular destiny to make a specific contribution to society. And most people believe that the destiny is self-created, that we create our own destinies through the law of cause and effect, that as we sow, so we shall reap. If we do good to the world and to our loved ones, then we will reap good back. If we don't do that, we reap something different. So that our destiny is partly sown through the law of cause and effect. As we sow, so shall we reap. Absolute fact. That's how it works. As you put out, so comes to you. As you give out to the world, so it comes back to you. If you're generous, the world becomes generous to you. If you're a person who is very stingy, you then perceive the world as not a generous place, and then you feel more lonely, so you right away receive back loneliness. If you're generous, you feel at ease in the world, because we tend to project onto others what we ourselves are. So the law of cause and effect is an important part of destiny, because we put out a cause and then there's an effect that comes back.